Welcome back to Impact on BBC World News. Just to remind you of our top story this hour, thousands of anti-government protesters occupying Hong Kong's airport have started to leave, police preparing to clear them from the terminal. The airport, one of the busiest in the world, had been shut down and all flights have been cancelled. Well, as the protests in Hong Kong continue, China has become increasingly strict in policing how foreign firms describe Chinese territories. In the latest example, Beijing has objected to a T-shirt by the fashion brand Versace, which appears to suggest, as you see, that Hong Kong and Macau are independent territories, listing cities and the countries they're in like Milan, Italy, and it says, as you see, Hong Kong is in Hong Kong rather than China. Versace has apologised quickly, saying it accepts responsibility and wants to become more conscientious and aware. Well, I'm now joined by Shaun Rein, founder of the Chinese Market Research Group. Shaun, thank you very much for being with us here on Impact. And you see here China very quick to act when big international brands, it thinks, are making these missteps.
It's very good to be here during these tense times. Exactly. If foreign companies say that Taiwan or Hong Kong is an independent country, you sort of see two things happen. The first is the Chinese government, during their state-owned media like People's Daily, criticized the company. But then, most importantly, is you get a lot of boycott calls by everyday Chinese consumers. And since China has eclipsed the United States as the largest retail market in the world in 2019, this could have a major impact on the revenue of the world's largest companies. This actually happened last year to Marriott, which called Taiwan a separate country. And so what did China do? They punished Marriott by actually blocking Marriott.cn for one entire week, so nobody could book any hotel rooms in mainland China.
And you see over Hong Kong, for example, Cathay Pacific has really felt this grassroots pressure over Hong Kong. I'm interested in how much this is possibly state-directed, how much it's genuinely grassroots, or whether you think it's a mix of the two.
I actually think it's a mix. On the one hand, you do have the government that sort of fans the flames of anger at a company or at a country like it did with South Korea a couple years ago, when the government actually banned Chinese tour groups from visiting South Korea, causing tourism numbers to drop 40% year on year 2 years ago. But a large part of it, frankly, is grassroots. It's organic growth. Chinese people right now are very proud of how China has, really become a global power in the last 30 years. They've got a good quality of life. It's a rich country. And they're very angry when they see the United States start to contain or maybe topple their growth with Trump's trade war. There's also a feeling in China that there's the National Endowment for Democracy or the CIA is involved with sort of creating a lot of the riots in Hong Kong. So in mainland China, a lot of it is actually organic growth, not so much directed by the Chinese government.
So, Shaun, when you are advising companies, international companies who want to work and get access to that great Chinese market, give us an example of the kind of advice you've given about maybe changing their tune or becoming more diplomatic.
Yeah, I think they really have to become diplomatic. The last year and a half, a large part of my consulting business has been political risk, because a lot of companies sort of misinterpreted Chinese culture. So what is really important? The first thing is companies need to hire mainland Chinese to run their China operations. They have to delegate to them and empower them to make decisions. Second, headquarters needs to sometimes listen to what the Chinese teams are thinking about. An example would be Dolce & Gabbana, which last year ran something that was considered to be a very lewd commercial of a Chinese woman eating pizza with chopsticks in a very sexual manner. That something was decided by headquarters. So at the end of the day, too many Fortune 500 companies make all of their decisions by the CEO or their marketing teams in headquarters without enough input from their local teams in China. You know what? I don't think Versace, I don't think Dolce & Gabbana would have run into problems if their country heads in China were running things.
Shaun Rein, thanks so much for speaking to us. We appreciate your expertise.